Hello everyone, welcome to the theory class. Today we're going to cover lesson 20. So before we get started, let's go ahead and do our evaluation for lesson 19. All right, here we go. Ready? Number 1, suggesting. I am suggesting that you go. Number 2, possible. Is it possible that you can go? Number 3, the brief finance. Number 4, mashing. I am mashing the potatoes. Number 5, feeling. How are you feeling? Number 6, unnecessary. It is unnecessary for you to call. Number 7, rowing. We are rowing the boat. Number 8, the brief particular. I have a particular task for you. Number 9, evening. It is a beautiful evening. Number 10, inconsiderate. Don't be inconsiderate. All right, so let's go ahead and see how you did. All right, so I'm going to point to the board and you are going to follow along with your steno and see how you did. All right, number 1, suggesting. So the brief is suggest, S-U-G, and then you come back for a second stroke for the ing. Number 2, possible, P-O-B-L. Number 3, finance, F, final N-S. Number 4, mashing, M-A-S-H, and then in a second stroke, come back for final G. Number 5, feeling, F, long E-L, in a second stroke, come back for final G. Number 6, unnecessary, U-N, second stroke, come back for N-E-S. Number 7, rowing, R long O, in a second stroke, come back for final G. Number 8, particular, P-L, final R. Number 9, evening, long E-N-G. And number 10, inconsiderate, I-N, come back for initial K, final R, come back for A-T. And make sure you don't use your brief for in because that will tell your software you're talking about the word in. So, and then the last stroke, inconsiderate, make sure you write that as a short A-T. It's not inconsiderate. All right. So again, if you struggled with that, go back and practice those for the whole lesson 19 before we move into lesson 20. This is our final lesson for Theory 1. So once you have completed lesson 20, then you will take the final for Theory 1, which will cover lessons 1 through 20. So you want to make sure that you know all of your briefs, phrases, and all the concepts from lessons 1 through 20. So you're going to go back, pull out all your handouts, and review all of those before you take your final. Okay? All right, so this lesson is a little long, and again, it's because it's the final lesson of Theory 1. All right, so let's look at 20.1. So today we're going to learn about words that end with fer, for, ver, and vor. Anything with the fer sound at the end, we use our final effer. So for instance, never would be written N-E final effer, never. Offer, O-effer. Sever, S-E effer, and so on. All right, let's look at some of our words here. We've got offer, O-effer, and that's a very easy stroke. we simply use our index finger with our right hand and strike the FR right in the middle of the two keys. Okay? Mover, M-O-F-er. It has a oo sound, but it's mover spelled with an O, so we keep it with an O. Shiver, S-H-I-F-er. Over, long O-F-er. Favor, F, long A, F-er. Cover, K-O-F-er. Chauffeur, S-H, long O-F-er. Chauffeur. River, R-I-F-er. Never, N-E-F-er. Tougher, we're going to write it like it sounds, T-U-F-er. Sever, S-E-F-er. Prefer. Now, just a little reminder, if you notice that that is a prefix, and it starts with pre, so we're going to use the short E, P-R-E-F-er, all in one stroke. If you remember a few lessons back, we learned about prefixes, and the only ones that we use a long E would be D-E or just E by itself, because we don't want it to conflict with did he or the brief he, so we have to use a long E. Other than that, all the prefix words, such as pre, pro, be, and so on, are written with a short vowel. Okay, so prefer, P-R-E-F-er. Then line 4, we've got refer. Again, that starts with R-E, so we're going to write that as R-E-F-er, refer. Driver, D-R long I-F-er. Clever, K-L-E-F-er. Weaver, W-A-E-F-er, spelled E-A, so we use our A-E. Waver, W long A-F-er, waver. Now, down below, I would like you to write out the word wafer, as in like the cracker or cookie. There are two conflicts that we have. Wafer and safer and savor. So we're going to write those down. Okay. All right. Screen. Pulling up the whiteboard right now so you can write this down. All right. So we've got waver, which is what I just talked about. That's going to be written as W long A, F-er. Then we have wafer, W-A-F-E-R. That is going to be written as W long A, way, come back for F-E-R. Well, let me write it in steno, T-P-E-R. Okay, so those are the two ways that you write waver, wafer. And the reason why we use the final F-er on waver is because that word comes up much more often than wafer, eat a wafer. Okay, so we try to use the more common word with the easier way to write because it's going to come up more often. Okay, so let's talk about, even though it's down a few sentences, safer and savor. Now, safer, I am safer this time around, or it is a safer way, would be S long A, F-er, as opposed to saver. She is a great saver when it comes to money. S long A, V, save, come back for ER. And again, the reason why we use the F-er with safer is because safer will probably come up more than saver. Okay, so those are the ways that you write those conflict or those words that conflict. Okay. All right, so I'm going to save this. And here we go. We're back on now. So feel free to write those down or you can print those out. So make a little note, line 5, where it says waver, W long A, F-er, wafer. Then down below, go ahead and write a little note, wafer. which would be written as W long A, come back for F-E-R. Okay, then we have beaver. Again, let me point to my board. Beaver, B-A-E-F-er. Giver, initial G-I-F-er. Paver, P long A, F-er. Hover, H-O-F-er. Lever, L-E-F-er. Fever, F long E-F-er. Liver, L-I-F-er. Lover, L-O-F-er. Rover, R long O-F-er. Raver, R long A-F-er. Rougher, R-U-F-er. Let's see here. Heaver, H-A-E-F-er. Braver, B-R long A-F-er. Sliver, S-L-I-F-er. Safer, again, now that's the word, one of the words we talked about. Safer is going to be written as S long A-F-er. And then saver, she is a great saver, would be written S long A-V, come back for E-R, saver. Clover, K-L long O-F-er. Drover, D-R long O-F-er. Quiver, K-W short I-F-er. Shaver, S-H long A-F-er. Okay, so those are our what we call the final F-er words. 20.2, we've got a sentence drill. Again, everything that is phrased is underlined for you, which will change when you start Theory 2. Theory 2, we will no longer underline phrases. You'll have to know those on your own, which they should be sinking in by now. Okay, let's look at these sentences. Will you make an offer in Iraq? Will you make a good offer in Iraq? Will you make an offer soon in Iraq? So these all focus on the F-er words. Let's look at line 3. The new highway is safer, period. The new highway is much safer, period. We want to flag is much. Initial S, final CH, is much. Okay, again, line 4. This course is much tougher, period. Again, you want to phrase is much. S-P-F-P. Okay, and then line 5, second sentence over, it says ask the mover to help pack. Ask the is going to be phrased S-K, final T. Line 7, second sentence over, Tom is our new chauffeur. Tom needs to be flagged, D-O with the flag M, because it is a proper name that's one syllable. Line 8, second sentence over, the river is too wide. We can say the river is so wide. So notice that 2 is T-O-O. That's written as T-A-O, not T-O. All right, looking over at line 9, first sentence, cover the loss now. Loss is simply written as L-O-S. And moving over 2 sentences from that, he tried to cover the loss. Don't forget, tried is 2 strokes. T-R long I, second stroke, come back for final D, because it's an ED word. Same with line 10. He has never tried. Again, tried. T-R long I, second stroke, come back for final D. Has is written as H-A-Z, has, it's not has. Okay, and line 12, third sentence over, you shiver in the ice cold air. Cold is going to be a long O, K long O-L-D, cold. All right, everything else there looks good. Now, moving on over to 20.3. We have words with terminal vowel Y standing alone, all right, which means that most of the time these words, well, they all have more than one stroke because our finger is already on a final he over on the final side, so then we have to come back for a second stroke with the AE. So let's look at the word happy. It makes a long E sound, and all of these are terminal vowel Y words, what we call terminal Y vowel words. And they all have a long E sound at the end. So such as happy, cozy, pretty, lady, rainy, and so on. All of those, instead of coming back for a long E, because that's what we use when we have our brief for he, and prefix words that start with an E, like elude, we would have to use a long E. So we don't want a conflict. So what we do is we come back for AE. So for instance, happy. So let me show you. Happy would be written as HAP. So I have to come back for a second stroke. I'm going to come back for AE. And you're going to use both thumbs from your left and your right hand. And you're going to strike the AE for happy. Okay. Cozy. Okay. Long OZ. And then I come back for a second stroke for the AE, okay? Pretty, P-R-E-T, come back for AE. Now, sometimes you may hear a break before the Y, like you may want to say, oh, I hear pretty as pretty, but when it comes to the terminal Y words, where we come back for AE, we want to try to fit as much as we can in the first stroke. So pretty would be P-R-E-T, and in a second stroke, all we have to do is focus on coming back for the AE. Makes it much easier. Lady, same with lady, L long A-D, laid, come back for AE. Rainy, R long A-N, come back for AE. Funny, F-U-N, come back for AE. Puppy, P-U-P, come back for A-E. Easy, A-E-Z, come back for A-E. Airy, long A-R, come back for A-E. Copy, K-O-P, come back for A-E. Achy, long A-K, come back for A-E. Baby, B long A-B, come back for A-E. Edgy, E final J, come back for A-E. Body, B-O-D, come back for A-E. Then we have duty. Notice duty is a long U. D long U-T, come back for A-E. Then we have foggy, lacy. Now notice lacy is with an S. L long A-S, lace, come back for A-E. As opposed to the next word, lazy. L long A-Z, come back for A-E. So notice, lacy is written with an S, lazy is written with a Z. That's why it's so important that you write them phonetically according to the sound, because that can mean the difference of a word. Holy, long O. We've got icky, I final K, come back for A-E. Hazy, waxy, W-A final X, come back for A-E. Pony, P long O-N, come back for A-E. Tidy, oozy, A-O-Z, come back for A-E. Money, wavy, tiny. Oily. Now, oil has the oi sound, so we're going to write it as O-I-L. Come back for A-E. Juicy, sexy, puny, P long U-N. Come back for A-E. Lily, coffee. Now, notice that coffee has an E-E at the end, but it still has an E sound, long E sound. So we're going to write it as K-O-F. Come back for A-E. So we do have some words that have that final E spelling, just like the next one, cookie. It has an I-E at the end, but it has a long E sound. So we're going to use that same concept. K-A-O-K, cook, come back for AE, cookie. Eerie, long ER, come back for AE. Candy, KAND, come back for AE. Carry, K long AR, come back for AE. Sherry, SHER, come back for AE. Harry, H long AR, come back for AE. Mary, now notice there's a Mary and a Mary next to it. This Mary, M-A-R-R-Y, are you going to marry your girlfriend? Would be M, long A-R, come back for A-E. The second Mary, as in they are a married couple, meaning happy, would be written as M-E-R, come back for A-E. Fancy, story, snowy, snow is a long O. Married, so now we're adding a final ED. So let's look at that. Married, they are married. M long A-R, come back for A-E, come back for final D. So you still come back for your endings, okay, interrogs. You still come back for all of those endings. All right, babying. B long A-B, come back for A-E, and then come back for final G for the ing. Okay, lobbying, L-O-B, come back for A-E, come back for final G. Kitties, K-I-T, come back for A-E, come back for final Z. Readies, R-A-E-D, come back for A-E, come back for final Z. That just means to cause to be ready. The system readies the brakes and alerts the driver. Okay, and then we have honeyed, H-O-N, come back for A-E, come back for final D, 3 strokes. All right, so before we move on, I would like to talk about proper names that might conflict with some of these words. So I tried to put them together so you can see what I'm talking about. If you look on line 13 and 14, we've got candy, carry, Sherry, Harry, Mary. All of those, you hear all of those as proper names as well as the words. So normally we do not have to flag proper names that are more than one syllable. But in this case, with these, we do because we don't want a conflict. So, for instance, our software won't know if you're talking about the candy that you eat as opposed to my sister's name is Candy. Same with Carrie. There's lots of different ways you can write Carrie as opposed to I will carry the groceries in. Carrie is my mom's name. So what we have to do with these is we have to flag the last stroke to tell our software we're talking about a proper name. So you have the ways to write them here as far as the regular words go, but if I were writing the word Carrie, Carrie is my cousin, I would write that as K long A-R, come back for A, flag E, the second stroke. If you decide you want to flag proper names, you can, but you always have to flag in the last stroke of the name. Okay, so like Robertson, if you wanted to flag, Robertson, you would do it in the last stroke, son. Okay, so that's the rule with flagging multi-stroke words. Always flag in the last stroke. Now, with that being said, I still recommend that you not flag proper names unless it's one of these that has the terminal vowel Y that sounds like a long E, okay? So that's what I do. I don't flag if they are more than one stroke except for any words that have that E sound, carry, Harry, candy, Sherry, and so forth, okay? So make yourself a note there. Okay, so you don't want a conflict, so you would want to flag that AE, okay? Now, it's not the end of the world if you are in a speed class and you're trying to get the words down, and let's say you just forgot. You realized, oh, she just said carry as a proper name and not carry the groceries in. Let's say you forget to flag it and it's a test. The only thing that you would have to do is go into the edit mode. Once you're in the edit mode, you're done with the test. You would go back into the edit mode and you would change that to a capital C. And chances are you're going to have to change the spelling anyways, because it's probably going to come up as C-A-R-R-Y. And carry can be spelled C-A-R-E-Y, C-A-R-Y, C-A-R-R-I-E. There's so many different ways. So that's when you would fix that name in that spelling, is when you go into the edit mode of the test. Okay, so you never want to panic about that as you're writing it on your machine, because that's what we have time for. That's the reason why we have time after a test, is to go into the edit mode and fix the spelling of proper names and other anything that comes up that maybe your dictionary doesn't recognize. Okay, so moving on to 20.4, we've got a sentence drill that focuses on our terminal Y words. Again, everything that's supposed to be phrased is underlined. Okay, it was an easy job. It was a funny joke. I will be happy to help. The winter has been rainy. Put your money in the kitty. That's a savings account. Again, kitty could be somebody's name. I have a friend named Kitty. So you would just flag the AE. Okay. All right, looking at line 3, I am sorry that you got fired. Again, we do want to flag I am, but we definitely want to phrase it I with the flag final M. And the reason why we phrase it is because we don't want it to conflict with prefix words that start with M, like immortal, immaterial, and so forth. So make a little flag there if you need to remind yourself, I am. All right, that you can be phrased, T-H-A-U, that you. Next sentence, Sunday was a sunny day. Don't forget, the brief for Sunday is S-U-N-D. Okay. And why I'm thinking about it, I really encourage you to go back and review all of your briefs and phrases before you take your final. Okay, so you want to know all of those and not hesitate at all. All right, looking down at line 6, hurry if you want to catch her. Want can be written either two different ways. Either the broad A, W-A-U-N-T, want, or you can write it the way it's spelled, W-A-N-T. Either way is okay. Looking down at line 8, second sentence over, it says she wore a lacy shawl that has an aw sound. So you're going to write it as S-H-A-U-L, shawl. Looking down at line 12, second sentence over, she is a merry person, meaning she is happy. That's going to be written as M-E-R. Come back for A-E. Line 13, Jim is marrying her sister. You want to make sure and flag Jim. Line 14, she wore a harried look. Harried just means feeling strained from demands. Okay, and then the second sentence over from that, Pat is carrying the load. Pat is going to be flagged. Proper name, that's one syllable. All right, moving in 20.5, word practice. Now we've got multi-syllabic words ending with the Y. We're having the E sound, long E sound, but it has that terminal Y ending. So let's look at some of these. Sadly, S-A-D, come back for L-A-E. Ugly, U-G, come back for L-A-E. Tightly, that's a G-H-T word, so we're going to write it as T, long I-G-T, come back for L-A-E. Nearly, N-A-E-R, come back for L-A-E. Burly, B-U-R, come back for L-A-E. Unsightly, U-N, come back for S, long I-G-T, come back for L-A-E. Nightly, N, long I-G-T, come back for L-A-E. Fairly, F, long A-R, come back for L-A-E. Gladly, initial G, L, A, D, come back for L, A, E. Highly, H, long I, come back for L, A, E. Slowly, S, L, long O, come back for L, A, E. Slowly. Promptly, P, R, O, M, T, come back for L, A, E. So notice that we're using the final MT, okay, for the MPT, prompt. It's got a silent P, so we just use the MP or BMT there, promptly. Line 5, loudly, L-O-U-D, come back for L-A-E. Softly, S-O-F-T, come back for L-A-E. Quickly, K-W-I-K, come back for L-A-E. Sharply, S-H-A-R-P, come back for L-A-E. And we have badly, roughly, boldly, notice that's a long O, shortly, long O, smoothly, S-M-A-O-G-T, come back for L-A-E. Proudly, P-R-O-U-D, come back for L-A-E. Wrongly, we're going to use the W-R. Even though the W is silent, it's spelled W-R, so we're going to keep the W-R. W-R-O-N-G, come back for L-A-E. Suddenly, S-U-D, come back for E-N, come back for L-A-E. That's a 3-stroke word. Fairly, oddly, oddly is O-D, come back for L-A-E. And madly. All right. Looking on over at 20.6, it's a sentence drill. And you look at line 1, second sentence, it says keep the door closed tightly. Again, that's a GHT word. So we're going to write that as T, long I, G-T. Come back for L-A-E, tightly. And the very last sentence, it says it took roughly all day. All is written as A-U-L, all. All right, 20.7, we've got briefs. These are the months of the year. Let's look at these. January, J-A-N. February, F-E-B. March, initial M, final R. There's no A in there, okay? April, P-R, short I-L, Prill. May is M-A-E. And the reason being is because we write May as in, may I get the door for you, would be M long A. So the month of May is written as M-A-E. Okay, so highlight that if you need to. You don't want to forget that the month of May is M-A-E. June, J long U-N, long U. July, J-U-L. August, A-U-G. September, S-E-P-T, October, O-K-T, November, N-O-V, notice it's not just F, it's the V, and December, D-E-S. All right, so those are the months of the year. 20.8 is a sentence drill, focusing on all of the months of the year. So it's pretty basic. And then starting with line 7 down to line 12, you're also using numbers. January has 31 days. So again, if you can't write the number all in one stroke, then you have to do it in 2 strokes. So 31, for example, would be 3, lift up, strike the 1, lift up. All right, make sure you're using the right fingers for the number. So I'm going to use my middle finger for 3, my pinky for the 1. Okay, very important. 30 can be written as 30, all in 1 stroke. Okay. All right, everything there looks great. Very self-explanatory. Moving on over to 20.9. We've got consonant compounds that all either start with the initial DR and the final KT. So we've got drum, drub, drip, drape, long A, draw, AU, DRAU, draw, drop, drill, droll, long O, drug, dry, long I, drag, drab, droop, DRAOP for the OO, drone, long O, drool, DRAOL, droop, DRAOP, drive, long I, dream, DRAEM, dress, drift, draft, dread, DRAED, drove, long O, drown, that's an ow sound, so we're going to write that as DROUN, ow, drown, dreck, drastic, that's two strokes, DRAS, come back for TIK, drastic, drain, dreary, there's one of our words that we just learned, DRAER, and then come back for AE. Drew, DR, long U. Dryer, DR, long I, come back for ER. Tact, TAKT. Tract, TRAKT. So the KT are using your right hand, middle, and ring finger, and then you're reaching up with your pinky to strike the T. So the KT is struck all at the same time. Make sure and get that index finger up so you don't accidentally hit another key. So we've got tact, tract, pact, sect, fact. Inspect. Now again, inspect. In is the prefix, so we have to write it as IN. We can't use our brief for in because it would tell our software we're talking about the word in and it would separate it from spect. Suspect. SUS. Come back for PEKT. Inject, IN, come back for JEKT. Act, AKT. Insect, IN, come back for SEKT. Tact, let's see here. Tact it's on there twice. That's okay. That's all right. Still good practice. So go ahead and write tact again. Duct, sect. Sect is written again as well. Don't worry about it though. Just go ahead and write it. Then we've got protect. PRO, short O, because that is a prefix. Come back for TEKT. Okay. Construct. KON. Come back for STRUKT. Construct. React. Again, it's a prefix. We're going to keep it as a short E. RE. Come back for AKT. Evict. Now we have to write that as a long E so it doesn't look like he. Long E. Come back for VIKT. Infect. IN. Come back for FEKT. Deduct, again, we have to write it with a long E so it doesn't look like did he. D long E, come back for DUKT. Eject, long E, come back for JEKT. Let's see here. Defect, D long E, come back for FEKT. So if you have to, write yourself a little note. If you forgot about it, any prefix words with D or E are written with the long E so it doesn't conflict with did he or he. Okay? Abduct, AB, come back for DUKT. Extract, EX, come back for TRAKT. Project, PRO, come back for JEKT. Inflict, IN, come back for FLIKT. Restrict, RE, come back for STRIKT. Protract, P-R-O, come back for T-R-A-K-T. Subtract, S-U-B, come back for T-R-A-K-T. District, D-I-S, come back for T-R-I-K-T. And conflict, K-O-N, come back for F-L-I-K-T. All right, so even though there's two words that are repeated, it's okay. Just go ahead and write them again as you're going through all the words. Just get a little extra practice with those. All right, 20.10 is a sentence drill using your consonant compounds. Now, if you notice, line 4, it says Alexander has a droll wit. Droll just means funny or humorous, and then wit just means intelligence or insight. Okay, so Alexander, that's going to be written as A-L, come back for E-X, come back for A-N, come back for D-E-R, Alexander. You're just writing it phonetically. Okay, so don't let those words stress you out. Okay, you're just writing them phonetically. The most important thing is that you have a readable outline. And then if it were a test, you would just go back and change it to the actual spelling. Okay, droll is a long O. Now, line 5, second sentence says hear the drip, comma, drip of the rain. If you see a comma in the sentence, you want to strike your comma, RBGS. Okay. Line 6, that is a drab scheme. Scheme, S-K long E-M. Line 8, I droop when it is humid. Humid is either written as H long U, come back for M-I-D, or H long U-M, come back for I-D. It doesn't matter. It's wherever you hear the break, either humid or hum-id. Okay. He drew a good likeness of her. Drew, D-R long U. A good likeness. Likeness would be L long I-K. And then come back for final NS. It's a final NS word. Line 9, second sentence, I drove the car in the dreary rain. Dreary, D-R-A-E-R, come back for A-E. Line 12, second sentence, that was a tactful question. That's a final FL word. So let's write this out, T-A-K-T. Come back for final FL. You don't want to use F-U-L because the software is going to think it's the word full, and it would separate it from tact. All right, line 14. Did you join that particular sect? The brief for particular is P-L final R. Again, make sure you go back and review all of your briefs and phrases from lessons 1 through 20. You shouldn't be doing that the whole time anyways. Don't wait until the end of theory to do that. All right, line 15, Jones is the prime suspect. Now, Jones, just because it ends with an S does not mean that that's a plural word. Jones has an S in the spelling of the word, of their name. So it's not considered plural. Jones is their name, J-O-N-E-S, kind of like James. The S is built into the name James. So we're not going to come back for final Z. You have two ways you can write this. It depends on if you hear it as Jones or Jones. Either one works, but you need to flag it because it's one syllable. J, long O with the flag S, or J, long O with the flag, final Z. It just depends on if you hear the S or a Z. Same with the next sentence over. How will he react to the news? News is not considered a plural word. It just ends with an S. So you're going to write that as N, long U-Z, news. Okay, don't come back for final Z because it's not considered a plural word. And long U-Z, it's all one stroke because it just ends with an S. Okay. Line 16, it is time to inject the serum. I would write that as S, long E-R. Come back for U-M, serum. All right, 20.10, the sentences continue. Again, line 17, second sentence, it says, we suspect that Jen took it. Jen needs to be flagged, J with the flag, E-N. And line 18, second sentence, it is a fact that there is a shortage. Shortage, S-H long O-R-T, come back for A, final J. Short A, not a long A. It's not short age. Okay, line 20, the law will restrict the act or that act, law, L-A-U, law. Aw, it's an aw sound. All right. Moving on to 20.11, we have ordinals. Basically, ordinals are numbers that have an ending such as first, second, third, fourth. Okay, as opposed to 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to show you. Sometimes people will say first and other times they'll say 1. So we have to let our software know what was spoken because we're writing verbatim, word for word. So even the little tiny things such as 1 or first makes a difference. So we have to learn how to write ordinals. So if I were to say I was born on May 1, I would write that as M-A-E, May, and then I would strike the 1. But if somebody were to say I was born on May 1st, I would write that as M-A-E, and then I would write the 1-E. 1-E means, the E means it's an ordinal, meaning they said first and not just 1. So let's look at our ordinals. If you notice, first is 1-E. We always use the E for an ordinal. Second, 2-E. Third, 3-E. And we're striking these at the same time when possible. So first is going to be 1-E. Second, 2-E. Third, 3-E. 4, 4-E. Okay, fourth is 4-E. Fifth is 5-E. Okay, so I'm using my left thumb striking the 5 and my right thumb striking the E at the same time. I'm going to get 5-E. And notice that numbers 1 through 5 are on this side of the E. So you're going to see the number and then the E. Now, once you hit 6, that's when it changes to E6. So if they were to say 6, my hands are on the keyboard chart here, I'm going to strike E6. And I'm striking the E with my right thumb. Okay, I'm not borrowing my left thumb. I'm striking the E6 together. 7th, E7. 8th, E8. 9th, E9. Okay, now we've got 10th. Okay, so let's look at 10th. That's going to be 1, 0 with my left hand, 1, 0, and the E with my right, 1, 0, E. We're striking all of that at the same time. 10th is all in one stroke. So it's going to look like 1, 0, E because E is on this side of the 1, 0. Now, 11th, I want you to go ahead and highlight. 11th is going to be in 2 strokes. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. There's 4 numbers that are written in 2 strokes because we can't do it in 1 stroke, and 11th is one of those. So 11th, okay, it's going to be 1, and then I'm going to lift up and strike the 1E together. Okay, now the E is always going to be in the 2nd stroke. If I can't do it in 1 stroke, the E is always going to be struck in the 2nd stroke. So for instance, 11th would be 1, I would lift up, and then I would strike the 1E. Okay. 12th, 1, 2, E. That's going to be all together in 1 stroke. 13th, 1, 3, E. 14th, 1, 4, E. 15th, 1, 5, E. Notice all these numbers are on this side of the E, so that's why 15th would be 1, 5, and then the E. But then 16th, it switches. Now you're going to see the E in the middle of the 2. You're going to see 1, E6. So the way I would write that is 1, E6. So I'm using the E6 using my right hand I'm using my left hand to strike the 1 and then the E6 all at the same time. Same with 17th, 1E7, 18th, 1E8, 19th, 1E9, 20th, 20E, 20E, all in one stroke. Okay, I'm using both of my thumbs there. My left thumb is striking the 0, my right thumb is striking the E. Now, 21st and 22nd, go ahead and highlight those because they're done in 2 strokes because we can't possibly write them in 1 stroke. 21st would be striking the 2, lifting up, then striking the 1 with my pinky, and then the E with my right thumb. That's how I write 21st. Same with 22nd. I'm going to strike the 2, lift up, strike the 2 again, and the E all at the same time to write 22nd. Remember, the E goes in the 2nd stroke. Then we've got 23rd, and it's going to look like 2-3E. 24th, 2-4E. 25th, 2-5E. 26th, now it's switching again, 2E6. Okay, 27th, 2E7. 28th, 2E8. 29th, 2E9. And 30th would be 3-0E. So the way I would write that is 3-0 together and the E all together. So I'm using my left hand to strike the 3-0 and my right hand to strike the E. Then I've got 31st. The way I'm going to write that, again, I want you to highlight 31st because that's 2 strokes. So if my hands are in home position, I'm going to strike the 3, lift up, then I'm going to strike the 1 and the E all at the same time, the 1 and the E together, 31st. So again, those are ordinals. It's going to take some practice. You're going to have to run through those a few times before you start the homework, and you will get used to it. Okay, so we always strike the E whenever we have an ordinal. So you need to understand that on the test, on the final, if I were to say his birthday is on April 10th, and I say, okay, that's an ordinal, that means you're going to strike the E. Now, your software may not recognize it because you have a basic dictionary. If it doesn't, it's okay, don't panic. That just means when you're in the edit mode, if you see the E with the number, that means that you meant to strike the ordinal. And that means if you see, let's say you see 1-4E, you would take that and take the E out and change it to TH because it's 14th. So we've got first, that's ST, second, ND, third, RD, fourth, TH, fifth, TH, and so on. So if you see an E in your test, you know you have to take the E out and you're going to change it to the ordinal. Okay, then when you get into speeds, you can add to your dictionary, tell your dictionary what you mean by striking the E. Okay. All right, which you will be able to do once you get into speeds. It's a lot of fun to be able to add to your dictionary and then you actually write something and then see, wow, it does, it shows up, it recognizes what I'm doing. That's the fun part of adding to your dictionary. Okay, so, and I will emphasize the ordinals on the final. I will really try to emphasize it. So I'll say first so that everybody knows I'm talking about an ordinal. Or I'll say 1, I'm not talking about an ordinal. I'll be very clear because I don't want anybody to miss something because they didn't hear it. Okay. All right, so those are ordinals. Then on 20.12, this is going to be a date drill. So again, if you notice, some have ordinals, some don't. So if it doesn't have an ordinal like TH or ST, you're not going to strike the E there, okay? And that's because sometimes people use them and sometimes you don't. All right, now, wherever you see the comma, you're going to strike your comma. For example, line 1, it says January 24th, comma, 2009. So you're going to use your comma. 24th, I'm going to strike my 2-4E. All right, now we need to talk about years. So in this chapter, you learned the years, or excuse me, the months of the year. Now we're going to talk about how to write years. So we're going to start with years up to 2000. Anytime you have a year, I'm going to throw out 1989. If I were just to write 19 and then come back for the 89, my software would think that that's a number and it would put in 1,989. It would think it was 1,989. So the way that we want to tell our software that we're not talking about a regular number, we're talking about a year, is by flagging it. So if I say he was born in 1989, I would strike 19 with the flag all in one stroke, and then I would come back for the 89. And that's going to tell my software I'm talking about a year, and you're going to flag it in the first stroke, whether it be he was born in 1870, I would strike 18 with the flag, and then I would come back for 7, and then I would come back for my 0. Okay. So that's how you write those. Now from 2000 on, it's a little bit different because we've got the word thousand. We said thousand. We don't say I was born in 19,089, or most people don't say 1989. So once we hit 2000, we have a different way to write those years. If whenever thousand is spoken, you're going to write THOUZ. And you're going to want to highlight that so that it shows up. And when you go to do this section, it's going to stand out for you. Okay. So if somebody says, I was born in 2000, you do not write 2000. Okay. You're going to write this as 2, lift up, and then write THOUZ because I said thousand. So it's so much easier than writing, 000. If I say he was born in 2000, you would write it as 2, lift up, and then come back for THOUZ. Okay, because I said 2000. Now, if I say the dog was born in 2010, I would write that as 2, lift up, come back for THOUZ, or 1,000. And then 10, 1, 0. That's how and I'm letting my software know I'm talking about a year, so keep that comma out. Okay. Now, once we get into theory 2, we're going to be talking about money and dollar amounts. Okay. So we're not going to go there yet, but we're just strictly focusing on dates in chapter 20. Okay. So make sure you write that down, make some notes there. From the years 2000 and up, you're going to write THOUZ. Consider it a brief. If I say 2012, I would write 2, lift up, come back for THOUZ, lift up, come back for 1, 2, lift up. Okay. Now let's talk about 1800. Usually the only time people say 100 is if they're talking about like 1800, 1700, and so on. So if you hear 1800, the brief for that is going to be HUN. All right. So if I were to say, oh, that house has been in the family since 1800, you're going to write that as 18 for 18, lift up, come back for HUN, lift up, because 100 was spoken. Okay. Most people though don't say 1950. And if they did, you would write HUN because they said 100. Okay. Now, if for some reason, again, your software doesn't recognize these briefs, the hun for 100 or thous for 1,000, it's okay. That just means when you're taking a test, when you go to take the final, if you see 2010 because the software didn't recognize it, it just means you have to go in there and edit it. So you would take out the thous and change it to the year 2010. Okay. And then once you get into speeds and you learn how to add to your dictionary, then you can tell your dictionary, this is how we write the years, because it's a very limited dictionary. Okay, but you want to learn how to write it the right way now so that you know how to correctly write it, and then it's very easy just to change your dictionary or add to your dictionary at a later date. Okay, all right, so again, we write like 1800, we would write 18, and then I would come back for HUN, and that would actually take out the comma. So it wouldn't be 1,800, like 1,800. It would be 1800, talking about a year, okay? So that's why we do that. That's why we flag, and that's why we use thous and hun for those years. Okay, so I'm going to make sure I explained everything regarding that. Again, when you're writing your years, you want to pair up in twos when possible. So if I say 1978, I'm going to write that as 1-9 with the flag all in one stroke, and then I can do 7-8 together. So I'm not going to do 7 lift up and 8. No, I can do 7-8 together. I'm going to strike it at the same time. All right, and so 20.12 is the last section of this chapter. Again, I know this is a long chapter. Take your time and go through everything before you take the test, because this next test is your final. So it's going to be everything from all of the briefs and phrases that you've learned. It's going to cover all of the concepts that you've learned. You're going to have some stitching. You're going to have dates. You're going to have ordinals. You will see, let's see here. You'll see, I gave you stitching. And you're going to see first names, last names, middle initials. Okay. You're going to see a little bit of everything that you've learned in Theory 1. Okay, so congratulations. You are almost to Theory 2, so pat yourself on the back. You're almost there. So if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you in the read back portion of this lesson. And then I will see you when you go to take the final. All right, have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.